As you look at a formation for 4v4 and 5v5 soccer, the most common and the best, and probably what I'd recommend everyone do, is play a diamond formation. So you'll have a defender, you'll have a forward, and then basically you'll have the equivalent of two midfielders. And what this allows is that you can basically create passing opportunities around these players, right? You can see how if we can move potentially through any sort of defensive pressure that we might have by making passes. Now, at a young age, the idea of them passing is probably laughable, but you want to get them used to that concept and that spacing. So you really want to work on the spacing here. Additionally, you want to think about a soccer field as basically being three different lanes or alleys, however we want to look at it. And so, what we're trying to do constantly is fill each of these spaces on the field with a player so that we have ourselves spread out and we have better coverage of the field. Now, I understand that at the young age, they're basically going to all move together and they're going to group together, but you can kind of just remind them spread out, spread out. So, additionally, I'd say as you rotate through the game, make sure players get to play forward once, defense once, and then one of the midfield roles. So they get the sense of that space as well. Obviously, forward players should stay high up the field and attack in, where these midfield players should be coming forward and backwards to help in both directions. And the defender should stay back, but they could push up to midfield if the ball's on the other end as the backside of that. So let's clean up some of my lines here real quick and just kind of show you what this looks like. Ideally, as they go towards the offensive side of the half, it'll look something like this from them, with good ball coverage and with the idea that they can move around and they can get the ball. And you're like, hey, I don't know if that's possible with my kids. You work with them enough and you sort of focus in on that enough and it will be possible. So that would be our ideal situation. When you go to 5v5, the same thing applies here. The only difference is that we just add a goalkeeper in. So everything else about it. So it's a real good transition that you can play between 4v4 and 5v5 without having to really change much. And it'll help these players over a 4-year process to understand the spread out, create a diamond offensively to move the ball, and then defensively work together concepts with the goalkeeper still being on the backside.